we're talking about Sally's chapter, chapter 21, section 4, and how that relates to what we'll be talking about after spring break with World War II and their use of propaganda. In today's lesson, we'll be specifically looking at comic books. So these are the key terms. They're on the handout I just gave you. Propaganda, probably the most important term for today's lesson and tomorrow's. Propaganda, media that uses carefully crafted messages to manipulate people's actions and beliefs. Pop culture, which you probably heard a lot, but maybe don't know the actual definition. Cultural activities or commercial products reflecting, suited to, or aimed at the tastes of the general masses of people. A lot of things in the entertainment industry obviously are geared in that way. Our future lessons will be talking more in depth about World War II and the Holocaust, like I mentioned, and the Nazis were a big part of that. A Nazi is a member of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which controlled Germany from 1933 to 1945. Their leader, who you've probably heard of before, was Adolf Hitler. He advocated a totalitarian government, territorial expansion, anti-Semitism, and Aryan supremacy, all of which led directly to World War II and the Holocaust. And you'll hear this word in the video that we're going to watch, the C-SPAN bell ringer, nuanced. If something is nuanced, there's just a subtle difference or distinction in expression, meaning, and response. Okay. Any questions about any of these? So look for these in the video and also in the lesson that we do after. Okay, I'm going to put these up again later. So let's move on. The essential questions. So how did advertisers seek to influence people? And think back to what Sally told us in her section. So what were ways people were trying to use advertising to have influence? Josh?
Not really threaten the user, but make them think that they need it to look better. Okay,
sometimes they use fear. Yeah, what else? Caleb?
They used celebrities from the time.
Right, celebrities, right? They're trying to have these beautiful, famous people tell you about a product so you're more likely to buy it. How did the increase in public schools affect society? What goes up as a result of more schooling? Van?
Well, when there's more schools and more people who read, some more people who read the advertisements, and there's more selling stuff.
Yeah. The literacy rate goes up, and what else do people read? What kind of other things? Josh, Joseph.
Newspapers, comics, books, things that you can buy.
Yeah, newspapers, comic books, the dime novels, which were also in Sally's section. All of those things became more popular because more people could read. Okay, so this is an ad from World War II from the UK. Dr. Carrot and Potato Pete. So I know they're gonna be all the rage now. They were introduced to help promote the consumption of surplus crops in the UK. And of course, you can imagine if there was a surplus of potatoes and carrots, people might get kind of tired of them. And so Dr. Carrot and Potato Pete were encouraging people to, again, like help the cause, eat their vegetables. I know they're pretty silly, right? Dr. Carrot. Okay, so now we're going to look at the C-SPAN clip about propaganda in comic books in World War II. The professor you'll hear is from Purdue University. He's very colorful. I think you'll like it. And lots of really cool information about comic books. And then on the screen, but also on your paper, are the questions to consider as you watch. So what role did comic books and comic book heroes, such as Captain America, play in the lead up to World War II? What was the significance of comic book characters enlisting in the military? Why didn't the creators also have Superman enlist? So watch out for that, he explains why. How did comic books of the time present our combat enemies, such as the Japanese? How did they portray the Germans, and how did that differ from the Japanese? And according to Mr. Roberts, who's the professor, what was the reasoning for the difference? And then finally, why do you think comic books were used as propaganda during World War II? Do you think it was an effective medium? in your opinion, what may constitute modern day examples of war propaganda, government sanctioned or otherwise, in our pop culture? So those are things, but they will all be clearly addressed in the video. Okay? So let me pull that up. Caleb, will you first? Thank you.
Should I go over there?
Are important. Comic books help define the war. Here we have the Green Lantern enlisted. Who can I mention? Superman, the Man of Steel. Originally, the Superman was going to be called the Man of Bronze. Superman's better, don't you think? And who is Superman? Here, I didn't mention these various crusaders, an oversight on my part. Please forgive me. What else do we have?
Thank you. Okay, so what do we think here? What role did comic books and comic book heroes play in the lead up to World War II? Josh?
Comic book heroes were like kind of looked up to by the children, I guess, or really everybody who could read, I guess, maybe. And they just wanted people to join, I guess. So.
Yeah, as people to look up to. What else? Anything else, Steph?
They're kind of racist, as the professor said, that they're racist to the Germans and the Japanese.
Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit more with number 3. Great, so what was the significance of comic book characters enlisting in the military? Why do you think that was important, Van?
It was important because if everybody else was military, why not comic book characters? Because they're superheroes, it means they can do things that regular people can't.
Okay.
So they would, plus everybody knows them. It's like, so everybody knows them, so it's more, trying to, they're more significant.
Right.
Because they're superheroes.
Okay, and remember he rattled off a whole list of them that had enlisted, right? Even Wonder Woman, Batman and Robin, Captain America, Captain Marvel, the Green Lantern, all of those superheroes had enlisted. But why did Superman not enlist? This I thought was really interesting. Caleb?
Because in the comic world, they thought he was too powerful
Right,
to enlist.
right, he was too powerful, and it might diminish what the actual soldiers were doing. So that's really interesting. And how do they present the enemy? So Seth touched on it. I think we can all agree, pretty racist, right? And you'll see actual pictures in a minute. How else? Julia?
As like really bad supervillains.
Right, supervillains, the bad guy. Caleb?
He said that they represented the Japanese as an irredeemable evil.
Right, irredeemable evil. What else, Josh?
Subhumans.
Subhuman, not even human. Yeah, pretty harsh, pretty harsh. But in wartime, I think in some ways that was to be expected. Okay, so why do you think comic books were used as propaganda during World War II? Why would comic books be such a popular choice for this? Ben?
Because they were like the pop culture of the time. They were what everybody was like reading.
Yeah.
Like TV or whatever. It was comic books.
Right, remember when we talked about Sally's chapter, dime novels were the way people were getting in those advertising messages because that's what people were reading. Those were really popular. And now, in this time period, comic books are really popular. Especially with whom, do you think? What type of people? Sal?
Well, probably more kids.
Kids, right? Maybe boys of enlistment age, trying to encourage people not just to be patriotic, but maybe to enlist, support the cause, all of those things. Absolutely. These are 3 comic book covers from the 1940s. So you see Captain America, Batman, and Captain Marvel in various states of attacking the enemy. So I have covers like this for you to look at. So I'll give one to each group. In addition, I have a full comic book for you to look through to see if you pick out any advertising. They're all available in the library. Please just be careful with them since they're rather old. So on the back page of this first page is your analysis sheet. So the cover, the one in the sheet protector, that's the one to use with your analysis sheet.
This isn't going to hurt you much. That means this is
She's projecting like opinions of the leaders.
Okay, 3 words or phrases used by the participants to identify objects or people within let's do that he can see. It's kind of showing. We don't want to
Captain and We're gonna go to the girls right here first. They have Captain Marvel. This is their cover. This is their cover. So what did you girls find that shows some propaganda or influence through this cover?
So he's shooting the Hitler and Nazis. So he's like showing the truth, but they're nervous for the truth to be exposed, so they're all sweating and freaking out.
They don't really want to say it.
They don't want to show what they're actually like. They don't want to tell. Like they're playing action games.
Okay. And how can you tell that that's Hitler?
Well, because it says
Okay, it says it.
Yes.
And
What else?
and they have the swastika.
Right.
Yeah.
It pretty much jumps right out at you.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he's fighting the Nazis, right?
And they look like they were in like a conference society and decided what they're gonna do.
Having a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great. Thanks, girls.